Hello again. Erin Dragonsong, Chief Esoteric Scientist and founder of Wicca Spirituality, which you can find at wiccaspirituality.com. I would like to talk to you today about what are the boundaries of magic? What are the limits of what is possible magically? I've heard people say that magic doesn't break the physical laws, that physical laws are the boundaries of what you can create in magic. I would say that that is absolutely not true. And here's why. Physical laws are really only guidelines. For one thing, they only apply here on Earth. From what I can gather, and from what I've seen, there are, in different planets, different solar systems, maybe different galaxies. I'm not sure where the breakdown is, but I know that other planets out there are operating under different laws, different physical laws. So therefore, they're not actually laws, right? They're only here, they're only local sort of laws. And if they're only local laws, what is that, like a bylaw? I call them guidelines. For another thing, this is an infinite universe. And it may sound glib to say that anything is possible in an infinite universe, but literally anything is possible in an infinite universe. That's the definition of an infinite universe, essentially. If you want to consider, just think about magic at all. If physical laws the Newtonian laws that we've talked about, that when people say you can only do magic that doesn't bend physical laws, what they're saying is Newtonian physics. The laws that say you drop an apple, it falls to the ground. The laws that say we are separate individual beings, items that are not the same as anything else, not connected to anything else. What happens to me doesn't affect you, all of that sort of thing. Physical laws, Newtonian laws, we know those are not true. Like, all of our technology is based on the reality that that is not true. If you're talking about the quantum physics laws, that's a little bit different, but we still don't know all of those. The ones that we do know show very clearly that magic of some sort is possible. The fact that magic works at all, that intention works at all, that law of attraction works at all, that prayer works at all, means that physical laws, the Newtonian laws, are being bypassed. Like, by definition, that's what that means. So where they start to talk about impossibilities, though, let's just put that aside. And they're talking about, you can't hold out your hand and manifest a pumpkin, right? Or a dog, or the love of your life on the palm of your hand. That is, for the most part, true, but not because it's not possible. That's true because most of us don't have the skill and the spiritual power to do it. I want to be clear, with a high enough frequency, you can literally create anything out of thin air. You can create an apple, you can create a castle. Yogananda talks about that in his book, not as in him doing it, but in his master doing it. You can melt rocks. Milarepa, the yogi, the Tibetan yogi, if that's the right word, he used to sink his hands into solid rock. You can go there today to the caves where he would teach, and he would sink his hand into solid rock, sometimes, well up the arm. That is not possible, right? And yet it was done. And it's fairly common to manipulate time, manipulate weather. We do that actually a lot of times without even realizing it. So it's only a mindset that thinks we can't bend these laws. And the more that we think we can't, of course, the more we can't. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, as Henry Ford said. But as witches, or magic workers, or even just spiritual beings, becoming, as soon it'll just be, as human beings, we often do magic that doesn't physically fit within the laws that we understand them to be. How can you make clouds disappear? How can you do cloud busting or bend spoons or bring sunshine on a cloudy day, or vice versa? How can you make something grow faster than something else? How can you encourage insects to leave an area? Which I've done. When I was living at the ashram, I would like to eat out on the balcony. And in August, the wasps are very interested in the food. And they would be buzzing around and getting on the plate. And you know, different people had different ways of dealing with that. Some people would swish them away and other people would leave and go and eat inside. All I did was tell them, this is not for you. This is for me. Your food is over there somewhere. Please go and find it. And they did. How does that fit into physical laws as we know them? None of that fits. You can do anything if you have the intention, the desire strong enough, the skill level, and the spiritual frequency to be able to do it. And that's really the trick. If you want to, for instance, Yogananda's guru manifested a castle in the mountains, like just called up a castle. And they all lived in this castle for a while until he was done with it. And he'd, you know, done what he wanted to do with it, and then snapped his fingers essentially, and it was gone. That can't be done from an ego level of consciousness, because an ego level of consciousness is always going to say, I am a matter being, I am small, the world is large and solid, and I can't do that. That's not possible. The more you get into higher states of consciousness, the more you realize that none of that is true, that you are not a material being, you are not a mortal being, you are an infinite being, you are the divine in form, essentially, and that it's no more miraculous to snap your fingers and have a castle appear than it is to plant a seed and watch a tree grow, for instance. So then people start to ask, and this is kind of, I think, where the question comes from. Well, can I turn my drunken, lecherous uncle into a toad then? And I would like to say no, because for a few reasons. A, your uncle also has his own levels of stability and intention that probably doesn't allow for that sort of thing. B, if you had the level of skill and spiritual frequency to be able to create at that magnitude, the last thing in the world you would want to do is do harm to someone or turn them into a toad. In fact, you wouldn't even be bothered. You would just love them unconditionally, regardless of their actions towards you. So your uncle is safe. There are not going to be a lot of toads hopping around the world, because when we get to that level of skill, we have no more desire to do that level of magic. I hope this has been useful. I hope this has been interesting. If so, please tell me below. Please like, share, comment. Let's send this out into the world. I think we're rewriting the world. This is what I'm trying to do, is rewrite the consciousness of the world here. So let's see if you can help me share that. And I would love to see you on the Elevation email list as well, where I can give you an ongoing stream of support, insights, upliftment, techniques, tools, all kinds of stuff. Insight into what's going on these days, for one thing. All right, it was lovely chatting with you, and I look forward to talking to you again. Take care. Bye-bye.